Hello, everyone. This is the second portion of our gender dysphoria presentation. My name is Nicole Riddy, and I have been working with Chelsea to do the role B of this presentation. Um, I will be presenting an article. The name of our article is The Role of Parent-Child Relationship, Attachment Styles, and Family Performance in the Formation of Gender Dysphoria. I will also be presenting 3 national web resources that will help children and adults that are living with gender dysphoria. It will also um, help those who are around them in their daily lives, such as their parents, school officials, and professionals that work with them on a daily basis. That would include their school officials, but it will also include therapists, counselors, child welfare professionals, anyone that comes into contact with them. So, with our article, it was an article that was written in 2018. It is dealing with gender dysphoria and the formation of the mental health disorder of gender dysphoria based on family ties. So this article takes a lot of time describing gender dysphoria, what it is, what it encompasses, and it gives its definition based off of DSM-5 criteria. It Gender dysphoria was just recently added to the DSM-5. It replaced the gender identity disorder that existed in the DSM-4. Um, Following the definition of gender dysphoria and the criteria for diagnosis, the study is introduced. So the authors of this article are interested in explaining the important aspects of the relationships between a child and their parent or a child and their family, and how it could um, add to the development or the onset of gender dysphoria, and how it could affect someone who's already living with gender dysphoria throughout the different stages of development. Um, in this article, there were 101 individuals. The statistical population includes individuals that were living with gender dysphoria and who have already gone through the legal process in order to begin their gender reassignment. And this population was chosen with those people going through their legal process between the years of 2014 and 2016. So, like I said, there were 101 individuals. There were 50 males and 51 females that were all selected through convenience sampling. They signed consents and then they were given questionnaires on their relationships between themselves and their parents and their other family members. So with this, they explored the parent-child relationships, the different attachment styles, which you know are avoidant, secure, and insecure, and then the family performance. And so, coming to the conclusion, um, it was found that the role of mental, emotional, and family factors occurring concurrently with each other are a significant cause and a contribution for gender dysphoria. It was also that the most important factor to assess within the parent child relationship is replication and role confusion or disturbance. Within the attachment styles of the parent and child, the most important attachment style to assess would be the avoidant and insecure attachment styles. And for the family performance, the most important performances to assess would be total performance of the family, communication, emotional bonding, and problem solving. When moving on to our national web resources, I have found and presented to you mermaidsuk.org. It was Founded in 1995 as a nonprofit British organization, they work to support and raise awareness about gender nonconformity in children and young people amongst professionals and the general public. They also provide a helpline for families that you can call into. They have an email support service where you can email to them any uh, current situations that you're in that you need guidance for, any problems, any general questions, and they are able to connect you to resources and give you advice. Um, they have a parents forum and a separate teenage support forum, and they have support groups. Um, this organization was originally founded as support group and has since then grown into all that it is today. The second web resource that is provided is called Child Mind. Child Mind is Child Mind Institute is an independent nonprofit national organization in the U.S. Um, sorry. It gives a wide variety of mental health disorders. It provides you with um, uh, information to understand the disorders, and so I came across the one for gender dysphoria. Um, Child Mind Institute is dedicated to transforming the lives of children and families struggling with mental health. There is a link provided for gender dysphoria, and it gives resources, support for the treatment options and suggestions, giving family stories for the reader to relate to, resources for families and educators. It gives a symptom checker for if you're not sure, but what you think you're feeling, you think you can relate it to a mental health disorder. They give guides for parents um, and for people who are caring for these children and young adults. Um, this guide actually is pretty cool. It's an explanation of what it is, things to look for, behaviors to look for, and risk factors of gender dysphoria. So, the risk factors of gender dysphoria, a big one is bullying. A lot of the general population of people that you will run into are not open to gender dysphoria and transgender communities. They don't completely understand it. And so, this is a guide for parents to better prepare themselves and their children and how to deal with these risk factors. And the last one is the Mazzoni Center. It is actually from Philadelphia. And I found a PDF guide for school officials to deal with children who are in transition. Um, So through this guide, you will see the gender basics. It lists and defines the different types of genders and sexualities. I think that this is so important because as a population whole, we do not understand how many different genders there are and how many different types of sexuality there are. Um, there's considerations. The major one in this considerations is having the right plan and being a part of this plan for the child. It's important to avoid seeking the universal correct way and instead focus on what is important for the child for them to have the most comfortable and positive experience while living with gender dysphoria and while maybe or maybe not transitioning. Um, it's important to always do the privacy and disclosure. School officials do have to abide by HIPAA, and we are mandated reporters, but it is important to keep anything that can be kept private. Also, it helps with dealing with public and private transitions of young people, basically saying that public transitions are something that is out in the open. People openly know about it. It's something that you can't necessarily hide, and how to make the person who is transitioning comfortable, and the people who are around this person comfortable, and how everyone can accept each other. And private transitions are more private. Not many people know, not many adults know. And so, how can you give them the support that they need privately, and still have them feeling comfortable publicly? And so, I'm going to show you the different the different resources. And so for schools in transition, it is a 68-page guide. And so just going through it, this is the table of contents. And so it will help with guiding the child through different things that they may not understand or they may be uncomfortable. So helping identify with their names and their pronouns, and helping to allow them to be in the proper dress code for their identity, their not their universal identity, but the one that they themselves identify with. Um, Different things like bathrooms and locker rooms, and discrimination and harassment against bullying, guiding them into the legal landscape, creating an affirming school for all. I think that this guide is amazing for school officials, and it's so helpful. And so these are all of the different kinds of genders. And then when you go for the Child Mind Institute, this is their page on gender dysphoria. And when you go to the guides section, they have a gender dysphoria basics guide. And I think that this is pretty cool. Um, it tells you what it is, what are you looking for, the different risk factors, diagnosis criteria, options for treatment, risk factors for other disorders. That is an important note, that dealing with gender dysphoria, it could coexist with other mental health diagnoses. And so it is important to make sure you're treated for all of them, with therapy, medication, um, lifestyle changes, anything. And then with the Mermaids UK, this is the website that provides support for teenagers, parents, and other professionals. And then coming back to our slideshow, I would like to present the transgender hotline. It shows the USA one and the Canada one. This is important because if you know anyone who is dealing with gender dysphoria, they can give resources that are closer to that person's location. They can hook them up with therapy, they can hook them up with support groups, they can hook them up with online resources. I think that this is amazing. And then we have our reference page to close out our presentation. So above is Chelsea's resources that she used for her half of her presentation, and then mine show the different web resources that I have just shown you. It also gives you the reference and the citation for my article. And then that is it. Thank you guys for listening.